In this video, you're going to learn how to use the form editor in Gravity Forms. The form editor can be accessed by clicking on any of the form titles. On the form editor page, you will see the ID of the form name, and links to the form settings, entries, and preview, which we'll explain in more detail in other videos. You can change forms by using the drop-down selector. On the left-hand side are the fields in your form. On the right-hand side are field types which can be added to the form. If you hover your mouse over a field, you will see an outline box appear. You can drag and drop the field to reorder the fields if you wish. You can also duplicate the field. And you can delete the field by clicking the cross. If you click anywhere on the field, it expands to show you more options. What you see here will vary slightly depending on which field you are editing. The field label is the name of the field. A description can be added if you feel the user of the form needs more details about how to fill in the field. The input mask is useful if you want people to fill in a field in a particular format, like a postcode zip code or a telephone number. However, there are also advanced fields specifically for these. You can specify if the field is required, meaning for the user to successfully submit the form, they must fill in this field. No duplicates will force the user to enter a value in the field that is unique in the form. For example, you may ask for a home telephone number and a work telephone number, in which case you would tick no duplicates to ensure that the user must enter different phone numbers. The Appearance tab contains additional settings that will change the way the form is displayed. Placeholders give hints as to the expected value of the field, like date format or text format, for example. These hints will not be submitted along with the form. Description placements are short descriptions that will appear above or below the field. A custom validation message is the message that appears if the field was not accepted when the form was submitted. It is possible to have a validation message specifically for each field. You should not change the custom CSS class unless you understand HTML. Field size allows you to set the width of the field. The options are small, medium, and large. Large usually means the field will cover the full width of the form. The vast majority of times you will not need to edit anything in the Advanced tab. Again, what appears here depends on which field you are editing. The admin label will only be used to refer to the field in the admin panel. For example, when used in conditional logic, which I'll explain in a moment, this label will not appear on the form when it's published to your website. If you would like a default value to appear in the field, enter it here. Checking Enable Password Input means the input will appear as stars, so as to appear hidden. If you want a field to be visible only to the admin, click here. Conditional logic is usually used when you want a field to only appear if another field has been selected or ticked. For example, if in your form you ask if a person has any children, if the user answers yes to this question, you can then show a field which asks how many children they have. You can also hide fields based on answers to other fields. Once you have finished editing the field's properties, simply click on the field to close it. Let's now take a look at the standard fields. A single-line text field is used when you want a simple text answer. Paragraph text is used when you want to encourage the user to write more than a single line in the field. Drop-down is a drop-down box. You can edit the choices that appear in the form here. You can reorder them by dragging them here. To add another choice, click the plus icon. To delete a choice, click the minus icon. To select a default value, click the radio button. Gravity Forms comes with some handy predefined choices. Simply click on the option you want and then click Insert Choices to save them. If you have your own list of choices, you can paste them in here. If these are choices you are going to reuse a lot in the future, it would be a good idea to save them. Multi-select works in the exact same way as the drop-down. However, the user of the form can select multiple answers. Checkboxes work in the exact same way as the drop-down and multi-select. However, on the form they will appear as checkboxes. Radio buttons are similar to checkboxes, but the user can only select one choice as the number. A number field is used when you only want a number for an answer. You can change the number format and add a minimum and maximum range if you want. A hidden field will not be visible to the client and will only appear when you view the form entry. An example of a hidden field would be if you want to save the date the form was submitted. You can select this from the pre-populated list or add your own. An HTML content block can be added. Only use this if you know HTML. A section break will allow you to break the form up into sections. You can add a title and a description to explain to the user what the next section will be about. A page break can be used if you want to separate the form into different pages. For example, if your form is very long, it might be useful to separate the form into pages. The advanced fields are used for some commonly used fields that are in forms. The name field is for the user's name. It will automatically add the first name and last name as two separate fields. There are different formats which can be used. The date field is used when you need a date. You can specify the date format, and you can specify the input type. Phone also has different phone formats available. The address field will save you time if you require an address from a user. You can customize which fields should appear. If you select Required, all fields in the address will be required. The email field will check that the user is entering a valid email address. If you require a confirmation email, click the tick box, and this will force the user to type their email address again. This prevents people entering the wrong email address by accident. File upload is for when you want the user to upload a file. You can specify which file types by adding their extension here, separated by a comma. You can also specify a maximum file size. If you want to allow the user to upload more than one file, enable multi-file upload. You can specify the maximum number of files. A CAPTCHA can be used to make sure the person who is filling in the form is actually a human and not a robot. To use this feature, you first need a CAPTCHA account. A list is a number of input fields. For example, this can be used if you want the user to specify a preference for something and ask them to enter their preferences in order.